Hey, what's up, Stringlings? Today we're going to be checking out the Omnicomp from Broughton Audio. Let's check it out. Compressors tend to be one of the most misunderstood effects in every guitar player's toolkit. There's a lot of, I'm going to say, mystery around how they're used, what they're used for, what exactly they do, and what all these controls do. Well, Josh Broughton from Broughton Audio has sent over this Omnicomp for me to demo some of this for you. This is one of the better ones on the market right now. We had one on the first Great Canadian Pedal Board that came out a couple of years ago. And yeah, we're going to go through this, and I'm going to walk you through all the different controls. Just to let you know, today I'm playing on a Fender Modern Telecaster Plus. This is a player model. It does have a humbucker in the bridge position. I'm using the split coil, so we'll get the single coil out of this. It's very common to use a compressor for clean tones. We're going to dig into some of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down to the desktop, and I'll give you a close-up of the pedal so you can see the controls that I'm using, and we'll get a little bit of audio in terms of what is actually happening. Okay, so let's cut down to that. Okay, so we're down here on the desktop, and you can see the Omnicomp. It's got 6 controls on it. These are actually fairly standard controls, but this gives you a lot of variation in terms of how much you can control the output, the dynamic level, and everything. So just starting on the top corner here, this is gain. The gain control is your output level, so that's how loud things are going out of the pedal, right? And we can use that actually to boost the signal if we want to. The blend controls how much you mix your dry and compressed signals. So if you were to turn this all the way down, it would be as if there were no compressor on it at all. And of course you turn it all the way up and everything is going to get squashed, and we'll hear a little bit of that in a minute. The ratio control determines how much compression is applied. Okay, so this determines how much it's blended. This determines how much actual compression is being applied to the signal. The attack and release controls shape how quickly the compressor responds to your playing. So when you've got a fast attack, right, the compression kicks in really quickly, while the release, you can control how far down the release of the note the compressor stops working. And then the threshold, think of the threshold sort of like the threshold on a noise gate, right? So with a noise gate, you would have the threshold set to sort of the minimum noise floor or the maximum noise floor, whatever, and it will allow through anything above that level. Well, this does sort of the same thing, right? If you play loudly above the threshold, that's where the compressor kicks in and controls the sound. So what a compressor really does, the sort of short version, is that it makes the quiet parts louder and the loud parts quieter. That's kind of the nutshell version. Really, what it allows you to do is it takes these big peaks from hard hits on the guitar and it squashes them down so that when you switch to playing softly, it levels things off. You can turn up the signal so your soft notes come through clearer, and your loud notes aren't then clipping or over clipping on your signal. So it gives you a little bit more dynamic control, levels things off. This isn't always desirable. Sometimes you want a lot of more aggressive playing, but you can control all of that on the compression side as well. So just to give you an idea, if I'm just playing softly, right, then switch to a loud chord, it's a big jump between those two. And I know that's going to sound like absolute garbage, right, on the mix down, but that's kind of the point. But when we switch the compressor on, see, I haven't done any changes yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin just with some basic compression, okay? So the Omnicomp is on. You can see the lights on, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to set in right out of the gate the threshold. Increase the threshold, okay? Blend in a little bit more and add some ratio, increase the ratio. Now you can hear it, right? As I hit it, the spike is not as high, right? Now we bring the gain up a little bit. Okay, just to give you an idea, let's take the blend knob all the way down to 0. And then take it up to noon. Can you hear how it's starting to cut back that high output? Right? Do you hear how much it just squashed that whole signal? Okay. So we want the notes to come through. Okay. We do the same thing with the ratio. Listen. Okay. So you can see where the compression is being activated when this light comes on. So we're above the activation level on that. Okay. When we look at the attack, do the same thing, right? So it's going to compress on the attack. See? And then when we hit the release, this does even weirder stuff. Watch. Okay, so what does that get you? I mean, in the grand scheme of things. When I turn it off, you hear how much louder it is. It's because if I'm playing aggressively, and I'm playing kind of sloppy just to give the real sense of what's happening. Right? But as soon as I play quieter, it evens out the difference between my high and low attacks, right? So when you're playing with compression, really it's going to come down to, what's going to sound good. And you want to hear it. You don't want it to squash, right? Now we can add in some gain and start pushing the front of the amp a little bit more. So between my heavier strumming and my lighter picking, there's less variation. I don't know if you can really hear that coming through. Compare that to this. See the difference? Right? So with the compressor on, the heavier strumming and the lighter picking show less of a variation between the tones. Here it is again. This is with the compression off. And then with the compressor put back on. See that difference? Now we can use this in conjunction with something like an Overdrive. I've got a Tweed Junior here. Just to give you an idea, this is what it sounds like on its own. If we give the compressor a chance to shine, you'll hear that noise floor come up because it is amplifying the lower end of the signal. So you can hear very clearly with that, with the overdrive on. Again, the lighter picking attack is getting boosted while the hard chord hits are actually coming down. So that comes in handy with soloing, for example. It can make your soloing a lot more present in the mix. So yeah, just something to keep in mind, right? You kind of have to work with this, and you might have to try it on different guitars. Again, I'm using the Tele, I'm using the split humbucker down in the bridge position. So if I were to switch to one of my humbucker guitars, this might not be the rig that I want to go for. But it's really useful if you're switching between, let's say, a guitar with humbuckers on it that's got a higher output on the guitar. You can actually grab a compressor like the Omnicomp when you switch over to your Strat or your Tele and use that to boost the lower signal of the single coil outputs. So something else to consider, it can be used to help balance out these two different types of pickups in two different types of applications. So give that some thought as well. Okay, so that's it for today's demo. As you can see, the Broughton Audio Omnicomp packs a ton of control into a single pedal. Yes, I might look like I'm sweating a little bit. Again, I'm just working out a little bit of a cold here, and the lights are actually kind of killing me today. But anyway, with something like this that has this level of control, you can really get into a lot of tone shaping. I highly recommend every guitar player get their hands on a compressor of some kind. This would be my recommendation for this round. One of the best on the market, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. I do have several other varieties of compressors. Another really good one is the Guptec Squeezer. Also a very good and reliable compressor. But if you're interested in snagging one of these, make sure you check out the Broughton Audio website. The link is down in the description. And while I've got you here, make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. There's about 5,000 or so, might be a little bit more than that now, guitar players. And I don't mail out huge amount of stuff, but when I do, it's always about guitars and pedals, and sometimes just my opinion on whatever's happening in the music business. So it doesn't cost anything, so sign up for that. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That link is also down in the description. And by all means, if you like this kind of content, make sure that you like and subscribe. Leave a comment down in the description. If you have any questions about compressors, by all means, let me know. This is a quick overview. They cover a lot of territory: vocal compressors, bass, guitar, so many variations of this one particular effect, and it's absolutely valuable as a utility pedal. So if you have any questions at all, drop them down in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. In the meantime, we are coming up on the holidays, so make sure that you have a happy holiday with whatever way you choose to celebrate, and I will see you guys again really soon.